lifting restrictions on American energy, rebuilding our military, changing our foreign policy, fixing our immigration, so important, and keeping our country safe. Right now, thank you. Right now, our politicians have locked our country into endless fights about small and petty things. I'm asking the nation to lift our sights and to imagine what we can accomplish if we work together, trust each other, and put the needs of our citizens first for a change. We must break our ties with the failed and bitter politics and policies of the past and pursue a future where every American is honored, and I mean really honored and respected. We have to reject the arrogance of Washington, D.C. that looks down on everyday, hardworking people, and that's what's happening. Too often, those who have power have disdain for the views, beliefs, and attitudes of those who don't have any political power. Those in leadership must put themselves in the shoes of the laid-off factory worker, the family worried about security, or the mom struggling to afford child care. Child care is such a big problem. And we're going to solve that problem. That means we need working mothers to be fairly compensated for their work and have access to affordable, quality child care for their kids. That's what we're doing. We want higher pay, better wages, and a growing economy for everyone. These solutions must update laws passed more than a half a century ago when most women were still not in the labor force. Most of them weren't even close. Today, nearly 2 in 3 mothers with young children have jobs. For many families in our country, child care is now the single largest expense. Who would think that? Even more so than housing. Yet very little meaningful policy work has been done in this area, and my opponent has no child care plan. She never will, and if it ever evolves into a plan, it'll never get done anyway. All talk, no action. Many Americans are just one crisis away from disaster: a sick kid, a lost job, a damaged home. There is no financial security in our country, especially anymore. But that will change under our pro-family profile. When you just take a look, it's pro-family, it's pro-child, it's pro-worker. These are the people we have to take care of, and this is what I'm going to be outlining tonight. Before going any further, I want everyone watching on TV, and there are a lot of people, right now to go to DonaldJTrump.com to read the full plan, great detail. The first part of my child care plan allows for every parent or family in America, including adoptive parents and foster parent guardians, to deduct their child care expenses from their income taxes. That's a first. I see the women who I just met in the front row are very happy about that. They will fully be able to deduct the average cost of child care for their state from birth through the age of 13. Because of the way the benefit is capped and structured, our plan will bring relief to working and middle-class families. The deduction also applies to elder care, capped at $5,000 deduction per year, $5,000 deduction. Importantly, our policy also supports mothers who choose to stay at home and honors and recognizes their incredible contributions to their families and to our society. Families with a stay-at-home parent will be able to fully deduct the average cost of child care from their taxes. It's a big thing. Wow. I'm hearing wow. I like to hear wow. The congresswomen like to hear wow. Makes your life a lot easier, right? For low-income individuals who have no net income tax liability, we will offer an expanded Earned Income Tax Credit, that's EITC, in the form of a child care rebate. Working parents can get an expanded EITC benefit that equals up to half of their total payroll tax, a major relief for low-income parents. Low-income parents have it tougher than anybody. This translates to as much as an extra $1,200 in EITC benefits for working families. Next, our plan allows every parent in America to open up a dependent care savings account. Families can contribute up to $2,000 a year to these accounts, completely tax-free. She's very happy about this. Banka is very happy about this. Crucially, unlike the flexible spending accounts that exist today, these accounts will be available to all Americans. You won't have to depend on your employer to provide them. Immediate family and employers can, and this is like right away, can also contribute to a dependent account, each of which is designed and designated for a specific child, including an unborn child. The money that is put into these accounts can also be spent not only on child care, but also child enrichment activities. I'd see. We'll start with that child. That will be our first child. That's cute. Additionally, the funds in these accounts do not expire at the end of the year. They don't revert to employers or to the Treasury. Instead, the funds roll over so that while only $2,000 can be contributed each year, unspent sums can accumulate and create substantial savings, tremendous savings, actually. These savings can be used by parents to help give their kids school choice and will thus contribute to the school choice reforms I outlined last week. A lot of good outlines last week on schools, and really popular, I will tell you. The funds will remain in the account until the age of 18. Whatever still remains at that time can be used to help offset the cost of higher education for your child. For low-income individuals, the federal government will provide matching funds. If parents contribute $1,000, the federal government will provide a $500 match. To help low-income families reach these targets and save money, we will put a box on federal income tax forms, allowing these parents to have their earned income tax credit funds directly deposited into their dependent care savings accounts. Pretty simple. These dependent care savings accounts can also be set up to provide care for elderly dependents, of which we have many. Many, many, many. Our plan also includes much-needed regulatory reform to incentivize private sector solutions. The new funds offered by our plan will create a new market for innovative child care solutions. But to make sure these solutions are available, especially in low-income and rural communities, we must reduce regulations that favor large institutional care facilities. You know what I'm talking about. called special interests got them there. We will allow the states to make the decisions that are right for them. In this era of sharing economy, we want parents to be able to access lower-cost, competitive, and innovative solutions at the click of a button, including services like nanny sharing. Our plan would also cover care provided by relatives and grandparents. Our plan includes incentives for more employers to offer on-site child care as well. We want the employers to get involved. Now they'll start getting involved big league, right? And you'll start liking your employer a lot more. That's one of the benefits. This can often be a good solution for many working parents and can save them up to 30 minutes in commute time. It's a lot. Currently, only 7% of employers provide these services, not very much. Our plan will expand tax deductions for employers, allow companies to pool resources to provide shared, and this is, I think, so important, provide shared child care services, and remove needless requirements that have prevented employers from using the credit. The requirements are so onerous that they never get to use it, even though in many cases they would like to. Finally, our plan offers a crucial safety net for working mothers whose employers do not provide paid maternity leave. This solution will receive strong bipartisan support. Do you agree with that? Do you think? When you go to the other side, they'll be okay? I'm hearing they will be. We'll get them to be okay, right? And we'll be completely self-financing. I think you will. You'll have bipartisan support. By recapturing fraud and improper payments in the unemployment insurance program, we can provide 6 weeks of paid maternity leave to any mother with a newborn child whose employer does not provide the benefit. This maternity leave will be paid straight out of the unemployment insurance fund. And again, this safety net will be completely paid for through savings within the program. There are more reforms and solutions in our child care plan, and you can review them all on the website. On Thursday, I will outline my full economic plan, which is completely paid for through economic growth and proposed federal budget savings. It's going to be something special like this country hasn't seen in many, many decades. Together, our tax, trade, regulatory, and energy policies will add trillions and trillions of dollars in new deficit-lowering growth. These are the kinds of solutions I want to bring to the White House as your president. It's time to free ourselves from the baskets that politicians try to put us into and always have put us into, and instead to work together. And I think you know what I mean. That includes Democrats, Republicans, and all Americans. I think you know. Thank you very much. Thank you. Yeah, I think you know what I'm talking about. While my opponent slanders you as deplorable and irredeemable, I call you hard-working American patriots who love your country, love your families, and want a better future for all Americans. Thank you. Thank you. It's time to end the rule of special interests and to begin the rule of the American people. That's what it's all about. It's going to be a big change. It's time to stop fighting over the smallest words and to start dreaming about the great adventures that lie ahead for our incredible country. It's time to start believing in America again. Together, I promise you, together, we will make our country strong again. We will make our country prosperous again. We will make our country great again, greater than ever before. Thank you. Thank you very much. God bless you. Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you. And Ivanka, thank you. Congresswomen, thank you very much.
That was Donald Trump wrapping up a speech in Philadelphia, the suburb, where he laid out a plan that guarantees American mothers 6-week paid maternity leave and daycare help in a variety of ways. Mr. Trump obviously trying to close the gap with Hillary Clinton on women voters, but did he alienate some Republicans with a new entitlement? Join us now from Aston, Pennsylvania, where he's covering the Trump campaign, Carl Cameron. You know, I don't want to get into the micro of the plan, let people go to the website, but it is not the usual Republican smaller government situation. It's an expansion of the entitlement system. Do you think Mr. Trump's going to have problems with that?
Well, if he becomes president, he'll certainly have problems with the conservative fiscal Republican Party in Washington, because there is a massive, almost $20 trillion national debt that has caused fiscal cliffs and government shutdowns, and that'll be an issue. But what Trump's really doing here is laying out a policy that he'll try to implement if he becomes president. But by laying out these policies, he's really courting the moderate, independent female vote, young families vote, families with seniors who need elder care, right. And he's going after moderate voters.
That's what he needs in Pennsylvania. Right, he needs that to win Pennsylvania.
He's here in Aston, Pennsylvania, right outside of Philadelphia, predominantly blue-collar but more liberal than conservative part of the state. This is a swing state that's been difficult for Republican presidential candidates to win in recent presidential races. So he's both trying to get ahead of Hillary Clinton while she's taken ill, but he's also checking off boxes, one of which Hillary Clinton has claimed to be a leader on. He has laid out his child care policies before Hillary Clinton has done anything in serious detail. As of earlier this morning, there wasn't the types of policy statements on the Hillary Clinton webpage that will soon be on the Trump webpage. And so he's going to places where Republicans don't often go. He's talking about policies that Republicans don't often talk about in order to expand his electorate, right. Expand his support. Right now, Trump's at about 88% of Republicans. That's about where Mitt Romney was in 2012 at this time. Unfortunately, right. Mitt Romney didn't win the presidency with those numbers, so he recognizes that he has to reach out.
It's a good political move.
This is the...
It's a good
and it's going to appeal. But he's also going to now have to answer to Republicans who are going to say, wait a minute. What are we going to do about entitlements? What are we going to do about Social Security, Medicare, Medicaid? What are we going to do about the expenses that the government can't afford already?
Yeah, it's an expansion of government. There's no doubt about it. All right, Carl, we appreciate it. Thank you very much. Next on the rundown, President Obama laces into Donald Trump and the Republican ticket. Wait till you hear this. And later, I have some advice for Colin Kaepernick and other athletes who are disrespecting our flag. Up ahead. Campaign 2016 segment time. President Obama traveled to Philadelphia today to try to help Hillary Clinton.
What we've seen from the other side in this election, this isn't Abraham Lincoln's Republican Party. This isn't even the vision of freedom that Ronald Reagan talked about. This is a dark, pessimistic vision of a country where we turn against each other. We turn away from the rest of the world. Yes. They're not offering serious solutions. They're just fanning resentment and blame and anger and hate.
Joining us now from Washington, Lisa Booth here in New York City, Juan Williams. Before we get to that, Donald Trump sounded like a Democrat tonight with the expansion of entitlements, did he not?
He sure did. I'm glad that you pointed this out, because that's honest reporting. I mean, the fact is, if you look at it, any economist would say, well, one, how are you going to pay for it? And he doesn't say. But two, they would say this is really rewarding the very rich in society, because if you have a nanny, you're the ones that would benefit. Working class moms.
Well, they'd have to put a cap on it.
Well, see,
I don't want to get too micro in it, but the philosophy of the government intruding in all aspects of life, including child rearing, maternity leave, has traditionally been a Democratic stronghold, and Republicans said, you know what, we'll handle it on the local level, we'll do it through tax credits. So it was interesting that President Obama said that Trump has nothing, and then Trump gives this big policy speech that Obama couldn't even criticize, because Obama before all that stuff. You know, I mean, I think Trump was pretty smart to do what he did.
I don't know if he did it intentionally today, but I mean, clearly,
but it worked that way.
Well, but I mean, look, Trump at the convention, we know there's a very dark image of America. Economy is fragile and phony. Janet Yellen is this and that. You know, immigrants are surging across the border. You can't walk the streets because of crime. That's Trump.
I think that he say it's realistic, while you say it's dark. Now, Lisa, when you heard all the entitlement proposals from Donald Trump tonight, did that give you pause?
From a policy perspective, I tend to like the government out of the way. But from a political perspective, it was a smart move. And it was a smart move right now where Hillary Clinton is not on the campaign trail for Donald Trump to get out there on a policy issue, and an issue that should be a strong suit for her. She's winning women by about 53% right now. And clearly he is trying to cut that lead. Also focusing on a state like Pennsylvania, where if you look at the latest Quinnipiac poll, he has cut her lead by about half.
You know, here's something interesting. Lisa, the other two cable networks who clearly favored Hillary Clinton, there's no doubt about it. And I guess you could make an argument that Fox News is more friendly to Donald Trump, although I'm not going to name names, but there are a lot of people on his network who don't like Donald Trump. And it's fairly clear they don't like him. But the other two, it's almost a monolith of these are cable news networks that they just will do anything. I mean, a reporter like Christiane Amanpour, a legend at CNN and a good reporter, came out and endorsed Hillary Clinton for all intents and purposes. And I'm going, are you a reporter? What are you? What is this? Anyway, that diatribe that I just delivered has a point. They didn't want to run this Donald Trump speech over there. They didn't want to let their audience know that Donald Trump did this tonight. And that's why they didn't run it.
Well, and that's a big problem for him, because he does need to get this message out. But I think part of the reason, Bill, we've seen Donald Trump start closing the gap both nationally and in swing states is because of policy speeches like this one. He's now laid out policy speeches on the economy, policy speeches on school choice, trying to reach out to minority voters, trying to reach out to women voters,
it's impossible to say whether that's
college-educated voters,
or Hillary Clinton's continuing problems it's very impossible to say it. But the point that the left is now got to go back and regroup because Donald Trump's co-opted one of their big issues. It's pretty amusing, is it not?
I'm sure they don't know.
Lisa, remember, Juan is with us tonight. Remember that. You know,
I don't think they know what to do tonight.
The guy in the striped tie. Remember, it's his turn now.
Thank you, Lisa. No, I don't think Hillary Clinton or Barack Obama in Philadelphia today are worried about Donald Trump having his statements about women and his position on so much.
You don't think they're worried about it?
About Donald Trump making up what Lisa described. Lisa, it's not a 50-point lead, but it's something like 53, 40 something. He has a huge lead.
Have you noticed in the last 2 weeks, have you noticed the tightening of the race?
It's tightening, but you know what? She still has, by all accounts, a 3 to 5 point lead.
Yeah, that's not very much on a neophyte against somebody with a powerful machine.
Well, I think that's where
5 points, not a lot.
I think it could be more, and I think Democrats think it should be more.
Yeah.
But you know what? Given the percentage of Republicans and percentage of Democrats, the thing here is there's a large number of undecideds, and this comes back to why Trump gave this speech tonight. A lot of those undecided are Republicans who have yet to come to Trump, and especially.
Lisa's straining at the bit here. Go, Lisa, wrap it up for us.
I'm trying to get in.
All right.
Well, but a big problem for Hillary Clinton, why President Obama was in Philadelphia, a city that gave him about 490,000 votes, is because Hillary Clinton desperately needs to rebuild the Obama coalition. She's having difficulty to do that. 538 did an analysis of just looking at African American voters. If they returned to pre-Obama levels, Democrats would lose Florida, and their lead in Ohio and Virginia would be cut by more than half.
Wait. I don't have time. You know, it's a compacted show tonight.
I agree.
I want to get into Ivanka, but we'll do that later. Lisa Wan, thank you. Directly ahead. Right now, Hillary Clinton has enough projected electoral votes to win, but will that change? Then, will the man who helped Hillary Clinton set up her private server be punished for not showing up to a congressional hearing today? It's an amazing story. Is it legal on it? Moments away. In the back segment tonight, in order to become president, you need 270 electoral votes. Right now, Fox News projects that Hillary Clinton has 273. Joining us from Cleveland, Kyle Kondik, who works for the University of Virginia Center for Politics. So you guys are also analyzing the Electoral College. Are you on the same track as Fox News is?
Yeah, we do think that Clinton's got a little bit over 270 in terms of pretty solid electoral votes. And then there's an additional group of about 70 electoral votes where Clinton is leading, but where Trump is very competitive. The state of Ohio, where I am right now, is very competitive, but I think Clinton has a small lead. Florida, Iowa, North Carolina, which Mitt Romney won. So I think in order to win, Trump needs to put away states like Ohio, Florida, and Iowa, and then start eating into the traditional Democratic states, maybe a Pennsylvania or a Wisconsin or one of them. But so far,
yeah, he seems to be close in Wisconsin. I think it's 5.
Sure.
He's going to New Hampshire later this week. That's only 3, but, 3 could tell the tale. I see it this way, that the first debate is really this year going to change pretty much all the prevailing wisdom there is in place before it. Am I wrong?
Well, so I do think that the electorate is pretty stable, and although we do see a lot of fluctuations in the polls, but sometimes it's just a function of that, Trump has a good week, so Republicans get excited. Clinton has a good week, so Democrats get excited. I think where we are right now is sort of the race is kind of where it was right before the conventions. Clinton has this sort of small lead, but it's a lead sort of akin to what Obama had in 2012, and that's enough, but it's also maybe a little too close for comfort.
Okay, but let me put this forth, because I don't believe the model of past elections holds this time. I don't believe it holds.
Well, there is some evidence for that. So just today we had a poll just came out from the Boston Globe showing Clinton only up 3 in Maine, which Obama won by 16. Another poll came out showing that Trump was only up 6 in Texas. Romney won Texas by 16. So there's some weird things going on out there.
And here's the reason. Hillary Clinton is a suspicious candidate. That's the best word. And I'm not saying this in any condemnation or any kind of ideological way. Many Americans are suspicious of her. Okay? So you didn't have that Gore or Kerry or Obama. People didn't like them, they didn't like their policies or whatever. But there's a personal suspicion surrounding Hillary Clinton. Now, that is unique in my lifetime. Unique. Remember, Richard Nixon didn't have that until after he was in office. On the other side, Donald Trump is largely hated or loved, all right? But those who love him, they're coming out. And the Trump campaign believes they're going to pull people who've never been out before because he engenders that kind of emotion, either loathing or love. And the African American vote, if it isn't mobilized at the same extent that Barack Obama saw, will bring Hillary Clinton down 2 or 3 percentage points. So this model this year is totally different than all the other years.
Well, I do agree that if the Democrats have a problem, I think it is an enthusiasm problem, particularly amongst the youngest voters, which is the most unreliable group of voters and also the most diverse. And you just think about, a state like Ohio, there are a lot of big universities in Ohio. Clinton is going to need optimal turnout in those places. And those are a lot of places where Bernie Sanders did really well in the primary. And we also see that particularly the youngest voters, sort of 18 to 24, a lot of them are saying that they're going to support Gary Johnson or going to support Jill Stein.
He'll pick off 10%, Johnson.
Sure.
But Hillary Clinton's got a very good get-out-the-vote organization in all of these states, whereas Trump is relying more on his personal charisma to carry the day.
Right.
So, on election day, if Trump does well in debates, this is the big caveat. If she holds her own with Trump, he's not going to win.
I agree.
If he wins, if he defeats her in the debate on policy, can't call her crooked Hillary, can't make fun of her pantsuits, he can't, when she starts coughing, throw water on her. That was not good. He can't do that.
Bill, and one other thing is that, so still a pretty big majority of the public doesn't think that Trump is qualified for the job.
He's going to have to prove that.
Yeah, and that's where the debates come in. And I think, you know, this speech he gave tonight about his childcare policy, I think that was sort of a step that his campaign was trying to take in that direction.
He's going to do another one later on this week on his economic plan, and he's got people now saying, you know, but he's reading off the prompter. It's a whole different ballgame when you're talking than when you're reading. Mr. Kondik, thanks very much. We appreciate it. When we come right back. Is it legal? In a bold move, the man who set up Hillary Clinton's private server defies a congressional subpoena. Wow. What's going to happen to this guy? Is it legal? Next. Thanks for staying with us. I'm Bill O'Reilly. And in the Is It Legal segment tonight, the House Oversight Committee held yet another hearing on the Hillary Clinton email situation today. The headline is that Brian Pagliano, the man who helped set up Hillary Clinton's private server in her Chappaqua, New York home, defied a subpoena to testify. He just didn't show up. Listen now, here in New York City, attorneys and Fox News analyst Kimberly Guilfoyle and Lise Wheel. Wheel, I mean, this guy should be in jail. Shouldn't they, somebody, the Justice Department, gotten a warrant for his arrest? You just can't do this.
I mean, they pan to him, right? And there's his placard there, his little seat there.
Very dramatic.
And a chair, and he's not there.
And his attorney wasn't there either.
No.
So what can the establishment do to him?
They can try to show him in criminal contempt of Congress. So
that's a crime,
Yes,
right?
it's a crime, a misdemeanor.
So who would make the charge?
All right, here's how it goes. It starts in the committee itself. The committee would have to vote for a criminal contempt charge.
Okay.
So it would go through the committee.
Yes.
Then it would have to go through the full House and the full Senate. They would all have to vote a majority
Could
charge.
you filibuster the vote? Could you do all that stuff where they have to vote?
So, yeah.
So you would have to go into this big thing
Right.
to get criminal charges against this guy.
You're not even done that. Okay. So then if the House and Senate vote yes, passes that, then it goes to the U.S. Attorney's Office. They're in D.C.
Yeah.
That the D.C. U.S. Attorney's Office has to, must, has a duty, yes, to go to a grand jury where the grand jury would then have to indict or could
So
indict.
no wonder he didn't show up. He'll be dead by this time. He'll be 95 years old.
Will decide whether to indict.
This is a joke,
and then following an indictment, then there would be an actual criminal trial.
Isn't this a joke, though? Doesn't this send a message to anybody that you don't have to answer a subpoena issued to you by Congress?
Well, that's what his attorney said. You just want to make a joke, a parade of my client.
No, I understand. Well, they didn't want him to come in, even though he has immunity. This guy Pagliano's been granted
FBI immunity, which is different.
Justice Department immunity.
Yeah, that's different.
But here's the problem.
That may be different, but Congress can't try him.
Right.
So he could have taken the Fifth Amendment like the others did.
That's what I don't understand. I think what we were talking about.
But he's basically giving the finger. I'm sorry, ladies and gentlemen, that's what he's doing to Congress. And Congress can't do anything about it.
They could do civil contempt, which is even a lower burden. But by the way, he should have just showed up and said.
No, but I don't care. I don't care. What I care about is that we really don't have a system. We don't have a system of accountability. Anybody watching is going, hey, go ahead, subpoena me. I'm not going to show up because it's going to take you 20 years to do anything.
No, well, I think if Congress is mad enough, they'll pass it fairly quickly. It'll get an indictment.
Are you kidding me? There's not a Democrat in Congress that would vote to hold this guy.
Okay, so
there's not one.
Congress and for the Republicans, and they'll vote to get this guy to the U.S.
He's saying it's basically like a rubber
indicted.
stamp sanction, if anything, and you would have to assume then that a judge is going to give him like maximum.
I didn't know any of this. You know, if Andrew Jackson were president, he just would have come to his house and shot him.
Oh, that's a great solution.
All right. In Ohio, you know, there's all kinds of stuff about people wanting to vote at the last minute. They want to vote after the election.
Right.
They want to vote at 3 a.m. And if you say, no, you can't do any of that, then you're disenfranchising them. But they drew the line. The Supreme Court said today, Guilfoyle, that in Ohio, you can't just have the week of sign up because they have all kinds of easy ways to do it before, right?
So what happened was, the Golden Week, and the court today was like, canceled, meaning no more Golden Week.
The Golden Week.
The Golden Week.
They wanted you could sign up at any time for any reason.
So there was no proof that there was disenfranchisement. And that court didn't actually formally hear it. They said we're going to basically not hear it. Which
and the lower court said you can't have Golden Week. And the reason I believe is because you can't check these people that fast. So somebody can come in with fraudulent documentation on day of or the week of, and the state can't check it.
Undermines the voting
and also,
integrity.
really, the law in Ohio, there one of the top 10 states in the country that allows for, long time in advance election. You can sign up 30 days in advance, and you can vote
they're very
early.
lenient about what they can do and what they can't do.
So there was no evidence, sufficient evidence of disenfranchisement or
there
any
never
kind
has
of
been.
overt action.
There never has been. All of the states
and
that say
matters, battleground.
you have to show an ID, and that's oh no, you can't do that. Oh no. Then African Americans will. I'm saying to myself, every African American I know has an ID, and not only that, the states that want that will send you an ID. They'll come to your house with the ID and ice cream. They'll give you ice cream with the ID
and the ride anywhere.
Right, and then they'll take you to the movies.
I didn't see the
after.
I didn't see the ice cream in the movie.
Because you didn't look. I saw it. I forget what state it is.
Do you have your
Idaho.
ID on you?
I always do.
All right.
All right? Because nobody knows who I am.
Right.
All right. In a good country, Brian Pagliano would be in prison tonight for defying the subpoena. And I don't say that with any partisan thing. You have to have a system, or you don't. And it's anarchy. It's anarchy.
It's not just.
But Chavis is going to go after it. They have to, because you have to send a message. You can't just let everything.
We'll see. We'll all be old people. Well, you people.
Well,
I'm already.
You already are.
You guys will be old before that ever comes up. All right, ladies.
Cobwebs.
Go home, please. Back in the big segment tonight, patriotism. As you may know, some NFL players are refusing to stand during the national anthem. Others are giving the Black Power salute. That is now spreading across the country in the name of social justice. Apparently, these players believe that America is an unfair nation, especially to blacks. This morning, I appeared on the Today Show and dealt with the issue in a different way.
You take on the Japanese theater in World War II, and we were talking in the break. I mean, this is something that does not get as much attention, and you really shine a light. What do you hope that people who read this book take away and learn about that?
You want Colin Kaepernick to read this book. I want the guy who won't stand up during the national anthem to read Killing the Rising Sun and to understand how much brave Americans sacrificed to free millions of people all over the world, the Japanese theater and the European theater. I want Colin Kaepernick, and I'm sending him a copy, to read every single word of this book and tell me he shouldn't be standing up during the national anthem. The bravery and the sacrifice that Americans made in World War II to free this world from Hitler and Hirohito is unprecedented in human history. And I'm tired of seeing our country besmirched when people don't know what they're talking about. So everybody needs to read Killing the Rising Sun. Now, I'm not holding out much hope that I can persuade Colin Kaepernick that America is a noble nation. After last night's game in San Francisco, Kaepernick again said that he believes black Americans are being murdered by the police and responded to criticism from ESPN analyst Trent Dilfer.
The fact that you say, no, you're a backup quarterback, stay in your place, that's an issue. I mean, to me, you're telling me that my position as a backup quarterback and being quiet is more important than people's lives. No, I would ask him to really have a conversation with the families of people that have been murdered and see if he still feels that way. Because I bet you he doesn't, just because he hasn't experienced that type of oppression.
So here's my message to Mr. Kaepernick and his sympathizers. No nation is perfect, but American police officers very rarely shoot civilians. The statistics prove it. Also, while there is social injustice and blacks have suffered in this country, most Americans deplore bias, and we have seen tremendous improvements in that area. To overhype the few police shootings that do occur and to create hostility toward your own country should be put in a basket of deplorables. Perspective is everything in life. Now, I am going to send Kaepernick a copy of Killing the Rising Sun. I am not confident he will read it. But if he does, he might understand that millions of Americans have given their lives for the cause of freedom. Freedom for blacks in the Civil War. Freedom for everybody in the Revolutionary War. Freedom for Asians and freedom for Europe in World War II and World War I. I do not respect Colin Kaepernick's actions. I think he is wrong in the extreme. And I think his frame of reference about his own country is scant. S-C-A-N-T. Scant. Upcoming. Factor tip of the day, which will save you some money. Right back. Factor tip of the day will save you some money in a moment. But first, Killing the Rising Sun hit #1 on Amazon today, thanks to you guys. As we reported last night, the book is very violent. But in context to what actually happened, we believe you will learn a lot if you can handle the truth. If you sign up a re-up for BillO'Reilly.com premium membership, you get Rising Sun free of charge or any of my other books. Also free, you can access a podcast of Martin Dugard, my co-author, and me talking about Rising Sun on the website. Robert Samuel is the host of the podcast. Now, the Mail, Sally Week, Baldwin Park, California. O'Reilly, your talking points are not fair and balanced, as you state. You quickly jumped on Hillary's deplorable remark, but didn't compare it to the terrible things Trump has said. Why would I do that, Sally? The Trump gaffes have been so widely reported, pretty much every single individual on this planet knows about them. Secretary Clinton's statement is a major standalone story, is it not? Darlene Antonio, Phoenix, Arizona. I happen to think that anyone who votes for Hillary Clinton has no moral compass, 100% of them. Aren't you doing exactly what Mrs. Clinton did then? By 2, Darlene? Melissa Bissett, Louisville, Kentucky. I am an adorable deplorable. Just saying. We believe you, Melissa. Dr. Elizabeth Folcarelli, Chepachet, Rhode Island. I disagree with Dr. Krauthammer minimizing the athlete's dissent during the national anthem. Just because one can protest doesn't mean one should. I have grave concerns about the lack of respect for the freedoms we enjoy. Beth Appellandini, Modesto, California. It's time for the NFL to step in to protect fans from these pathetic anti-American protests. I am ready for some football, not someone else's issues, real or imagined. Amy Lamette, Beverly Hills, California. Bill O'Reilly, thank you for mentioning my late father's film network. The Money Speech remains one of YouTube's most shared videos. Sidney Lumet was a brilliant director. Thanks for writing, Amy. Pamela Tully, Fenwick Island, Delaware. Mr. O'Reilly, thank you for writing Killing the Rising Sun. My dad was shot down over Burma and was tortured in a Japanese camp until he escaped. He was a fine man. We know many Americans like you, Pam, will read Rising Sun with emotion. We know that. I just hope I do your father justice. And finally tonight, the factor tip of the day. Do your Christmas shopping now. Now. Many merchants are starving. Nobody's buying. This is the off season, but all the winter stuff's there. In some stores, they're throwing this stuff at you. All right, marking everything down. You'll save 50% or more on Christmas gifts if you buy in September and early October. The big stuff, too. Once November 1st rolls around, boom, prices are jacked up. Back to tip of the day. And that is it for us tonight. Please check out the Fox News Factor website, different from BillO'Reilly.com. Also, we'd like you to spout off about the Factor from anywhere in the world. O'Reilly at FoxNews.com, O'Reilly at FoxNews.com. Name and town if you wish to opine. Word of the day, do not be insolent. Right, the Factor. Now, we have a big story tomorrow night. We are demanding that Dennis Miller release his medical records. He's going to do it right here. It's got to be done. Again, thanks for watching us tonight. I'm Bill O'Reilly. Please always remember that the spin stops here. We're definitely looking out for you.